What is up, everybody? Welcome to Speak Now Pro Wrestling. It is time for your weekly Monday Night Raw watch along. I should have probably said I'm sorry, afternoon Raw.
Monday afternoon
Yeah.
delights.
Yes, there you go. Anyways, welcome to the post show, everybody. It's Denise Salcedo and Santi Zap. Santi, as always, it's a good time to see you. Happy St. Patrick's Day. We're all wearing our green getup here, but Santi, let's start off with it, man. First of all, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm emotionally maybe a little bit troubled after that John Cena heel segment where he absolutely destroyed fans around the world. Even his biggest of fans just got absolutely torched by Cena.
All of them. It's funny because Santi, I was polar opposite. I used to boo John Cena. Growing up, I was not a John Cena fan. I didn't appreciate John Cena until afterwards. I was one of those. And so not only did I feel called out today, but even his own fans that loved and supported him throughout the years were called out today. In a nearly 20-minute segment, John Cena went out there and basically told all of us that we ain't shit. All right. He went after us for always treating him poorly, saying he's not a baby face, he's not a heel, he's just a human being, and basically saying that the fans are selfish and always wanting what was in it for them. And Santi, I can't wait to get your thoughts on this. How broken is your heart at this moment after what John Cena just did to all of his fans?
It's so funny because in that promo, I was like, yeah, John, you let them know they bullied you for years. You laid out your blood, sweat, and tears in that ring just to hear Cena sucks chants around the world. And then I swear, Denise, he looked at that camera and was speaking directly towards me when he said, and you, the ones that have been chanting, let's go Cena, the ones wearing my merch. And he was pointing out people wearing the merch in the actual stands. He went in on us and said that we're part of the problem, that all we did was demand more from Cena, that we were basically just treating him like a mascot. And he broke up with us, like literally. He literally broke up with us on live TV, and I haven't been broken up with ever, Denise. I'm always the one that's done the breaking
I
up in my
hate you, Santi.
relationships.
I hate you.
This is this how it feels to be broken up with? Because this
Terrible
is
feeling.
brutal.
I've been broken up with at least like 5 to 10 times. Okay, maybe not 10. That's a little too much.
Oh, I
All
was
right,
gonna say,
5
what's
times.
wrong with you?
5
Red
times.
flags, geez, 10 times?
I'm a Latina. I'm crazy, Santi. Okay, they don't be liking crazy bitches out here. But anyways, it sucks. Okay, and your heart is broken, and I'm glad you're finally feeling what it's like right now to get broken up with. Go sing Alanis Morissette, Santi. That's what you got to do.
Yeah, I gotta go on my hoe phase now, Denise. I gotta just find a new favorite wrestler. I'm gonna
It's
jump
gonna be
from
your
favorite wrestler.
rebound.
This is
Pick a
my
rebound.
rebound. So who is willing to take me? I'll quickly jump
Is
in on another
Cody gonna
fandom.
be is Cody gonna be your rebound?
Oh God, no. That would be just cruel and heinous if I were to jump to in bed with the Cody fandom.
All right, so your heart's broken. Continue on, Santi. I kind of cut you off there.
Yeah, no, I thought that this was such a brilliant way to go about it. If you think about what we were all expecting from this, remember how we were all like, "Ooh, new music, new look, new attire," and John Cena going out there and telling us, "I'm not giving you what you want anymore. I know you were all expecting new music, new attire, new this, new that, but I am sick and tired of giving you what you want. You no longer get to demand anything from me." And I think that is weirdly such a brilliant way to go about turning heel, not changing anything about yourself aside from how you feel about the fans. He still went out there with his colorful shirt, with the colorful towel, with the same merch. And it was just a demeanor change as opposed to trying to change the entire package that is John Cena. And when I think about it, the more that I think about it, the more I think that this is the way to go. Like John Cena just simply changing the way that he sees and thinks about fans is enough to repackage him as a heel. This is a 20-year long hero of the company babyface that does not need the repackaging to tell us that now he's the bad guy. He doesn't need that. Just him changing his demeanor is more than enough to tell us that he's now the bad guy. And the fact that he's saying, I'm not a face, I'm not a heel, I'm just a human. I kind of love the idea of him not changing anything about himself and just changing the perception that he has about the fans. I think that that's weirdly genius.
Yeah, it's definitely not what we were expecting. I know myself, I was trying to visualize what a heel John Cena would look like, right? Is he going to come out all emo, black leather pants, or maybe black leather jorts? I don't know what he would come out with. And I,
What
because I'm
is this,
thinking, is
sex
this
dungeon John Cena? Did you want him with a whip as well? Did you
whip
want him
and
to give you a
chain?
safe word? Did he need a safe word for you?
The safe word. Oh, that would be good. What would the safe word be for John Cena? Never give up. But then this time you'd actually be giving up.
Yeah.
No, but I don't know. I was trying, but that's the thing though, Santi. I was trying to visualize what a heel John Cena would look like from the actual gear, and I couldn't see it. Like I legitimately could not see what that would look like. And so him kind of doing it this way, I feel like, yeah, it is sort of different. It's unexpected, but it's the same sort of fu to the fans that he is not going to change or not what your traditional heel would do and changing everything about them. But one of the things that I do like about this, or what he went out there and did, was that he really, really laid it in, right? Calling us pathetic, calling us idiots, calling us all these types of things. But you know what I loved even more? The way that the fans reacted to this. They had every single chant that you've ever heard throughout the years, that you've heard your favorite heels or heels being called, all in one segment. And my favorite part is when he called out that poor little kid, and they even showed the camera of this poor little kid completely brokenhearted watching John Cena call him out like that while wearing the John Cena t-shirt. I thought the crowd really brought it, and they gave it to John Cena, and John Cena gave it back. That moment when he was just standing in the ring before he even started speaking, and how crazy the crowd was going, and at the beginning the crowd was still split, right? Like you were getting people cheering for John Cena. By the end of it, you weren't really getting any of that, Santi. And I felt like he needed to do this because you and I have talked about this before. Like there are going to be people that are still rooting for heel John Cena. And I think he needed to really lay it in the way that he did tonight in order to maybe try to get some of those people to maybe change their minds a little bit.
For sure. There's gonna be the minuscule hardcore like me that will continue to root for John Cena regardless of what he does, even though he hurt. But I honestly think that this was such a quick crash course reminder of who the fuck John Cena is on the mic. Good Lord. Because first of all, we haven't really talked about the fact that it was an excellent promo. It was a really, really good promo. We also did have Cody Rhodes go out there only for a couple of minutes, but this really was the John Cena show. He had that crowd eating out of the palm of his hands. And one of the things I just like about John Cena's ability to cut promos, especially we saw it here, is something that I think The Rock thinks he's good at it, but he's really bad at it, which is like letting the crowd build. Because The Rock, yeah, he like smells the crowd, but he lets them go on for way too long, and it stretches the segment, and he doesn't say anything of substance beyond that. But then Cena was letting the crowd give it to him, and then the next 30 seconds of his promo would be about what they're just chanting. He would say something along the lines like, you see, you guys are literally proving exactly what I'm talking about. Everything that I'm saying by you chanting this or that, blah, 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 you are proving that you are ungrateful, that you are unworthy. And that to me is such a great way to cut a promo, and something that you can't just put every random WWE superstar out there to do what Cena did, to play off the crowd the way that he did, like improv style, because so much of his promo was based off the fact of whatever it is that they were chanting. When they started chanting Cody Rhodes, Cena in a split second pivots his promo to talking about, oh yeah, chant Cody Rhodes, your new toy, the new guy that you guys are now pushing to the moon, the new me, basically. I think Cena reminded the world that, to me, he's in the holy trinity. It's Cena, Punk, and it was The
Rock.
Rock, but I was gonna say
Did
Rock.
you rock out?
I recently, I'm taking The Rock out, but
But
yeah,
all time though, who
all
would you
time.
put in that spot though?
If not Rock, Paul Heyman.
Interesting. I feel like The Rock, I don't think, and mind you, this is coming from a big CM Punk fan. I still hold The Rock at the very top when it comes to like mic work because when I think of my favorite WWE moments, when I go down the rabbit holes of like great moments on the microphone, it's literally every single wrestler plus The Rock.
Yeah.
I can think of all of these segments plus The Rock. It involves The Rock. So for me, Rock is still number one. I would put CM Punk at number two. I'd probably put, Cena right after that, or I also got to include, I know he's not in this company right now anymore, but Chris Jericho, who I also thought is brilliant on the microphone too, especially during his WWE days, I thought was awesome. But I can't see myself taking The Rock out of the list,
No, no,
even
no.
now with the promos
I was
not
just
being
purely
hot
talking
shot.
about those that are active right now. Like Cena quickly just reminded everyone, I'm up here. I haven't missed a beat, even though I haven't been here for a long time. This heel Cena is uncharted territory. He played it up perfectly. He seemed like such a natural at it, if you ask me.
Oh, dude, it was so good. And I think sometimes like we forget because that's the other thing, right? Like, what can John Cena do? We know John Cena can go out there and he can do his raps and whatnot. And that causes, clearly on the fly type of thinking. And the fact that he's doing that, in a different kind of a way, like that's that feedback again with the fans, like you said, reacting to the fans. And I feel bad because when you were kind of describing The Rock, where he kind of lets these moments sink in a little bit too much, you know who that reminded me of? And a sample of what we saw here tonight, that was with Seth Rollins. That Seth Rollins promo was literally a poor example. It was literally an example of the poor version of what you would do with the crowd, income total opposite of John Cena.
For sure. And honestly, if you want to pivot to the Seth Rollins promo real quick, because I don't think there's a lot to talk about it. Because what I said to my chat, I was like, this was a house show promo promoting SmackDown. Like,
Yes, he was
think
an
of
MC.
yeah, think about what happened in that promo. The answer is nothing of substance.
No.
The answer is promoting, hey, I'm gonna eventually talk to those guys. And hey, the main event, let's give them a round for applause. Yeah, that was Seth Rollins' promo. It was such a nothing promo, unfortunately, that there's like nothing to talk about when it comes to that promo.
No, and we heard the song, the ref Seth Rollins, whoa, whatever song, sing 3 times in this segment, Santi. And I get it. It's fun when you're in the crowd. Trust me, I've sang it when I'm in the live crowds and whatnot. I get it. On TV, though, I'm Team Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman last week on SmackDown said he hates that freaking song. I'm sorry, I'm a Seth Rollins song hater now officially. I'm with Paul Heyman on this one. I'm over the song already. But yeah, they basically had Seth Rollins go out there and be a cheerleader, or not a cheerleader, be an MC for the show. But he did announce though that CM Punk was going to be on SmackDown, so that was pretty much it. So he's basically going out there and, like you said, promoting the show. But going back to the John Cena segment, the one thing we didn't get too much into was Cody Rhodes' response, Santi, because we have been hearing Cody Rhodes go out there, and one of the things that we were talking about was there was really nothing much else for Cody to say because he had been going out there, and until we heard from John Cena, he really couldn't go any further. And this time he went out there and he kept it very, very brief. He basically just called him a whiny bitch, right? And left. And that was the end of that. Were you surprised by how simple they kept it? And do you think it was simple enough to be effective? And keep in mind, they did announce another segment with them next week.
I okay, so I feel like the simplicity was almost like necessary. Cena had already gone on for 20 something minutes at this point. He'd gone on for about 24 minutes if you include the entrance and him playing the crowd for a while, dropping the mic. He went on for about 25 minutes. So I don't think that there was a lot of room for Cody Rhodes there. This left me wanting more. I don't want to say that it was bad, but it left me wanting more. I certainly hope that Cody's angle in all of this is more deep than just you're a whiny bitch now. I feel like we need to cut a little bit deeper than that. And I'm sure that they will. We still have over a month until WrestleMania at this point. So there's plenty of opportunity for that to happen. But I feel like they on purpose kept Cody Rhodes's promo very one-dimensional and very short because I really think that they just wanted us to walk out remembering the Cena segment. That's why I think even the main event kind of fell flat. The Seth Rollins stuff fell flat because I think the goal of today's Raw was for you to walk away emotionally troubled from the Cena segment specifically. I don't think that this was the start of Cena versus Cody. I think this was the unveiling of John Cena as a heel. And then from here, now that we know what kind of character we have, now that Cena unveiled himself and showed his cards for 20 minutes, now we can do Cody versus Cena promos back and forth and actually getting to some substance. I feel like Cody was out there to remind you this is a Cody versus Cena match at WrestleMania, create a little bit of excitement for the next time that they meet, because we won't need any exposition anymore about the John Cena character. We got that. That's what today was about, the exposition and the unveiling of the Cena character.
It was Cena versus the fans today. It was
Mhm.
trying to break away, and like you said, break up with us. That's what we got. And he said it himself. We're breaking up with you, and that really was what we're done. We're cut off. That's it. And I think that's going to be interesting to see what the crowd reaction is the following week and how we sort of continue this on. But man, I'm so interested in what they're doing here, and I can't wait for the moment though, because when you're right, with Cody Rhodes, when he came out and all he had to say was, you're a whiny bitch. Yes, I do want him to cut deeper than that. All right. Like this guy, him and The Rock really messed him up. They busted his eardrum. They did all of these things to him, right? Really, really left him all messed up. I want to see Cody Rhodes like really point that out and try to like almost try to make John Cena sort of felt this guilt, maybe a shame, because right now, I feel like as a babyface, I would try to point out, like, hey man, you used to be a good guy. You used to do all of these things. How could you have no shame, no guilt for what you did and what you did to me? So I would want to see Cody try to like maybe hit that a little bit harder. But next week, though, do you think we'll be finally getting some violence here between Cody and Cena? Because it's brewing, and you almost felt it, like you wanted to kind of see that today.
I I I think it's inevitable. I think they were what, in Glasgow next week. I feel like that's a great place to do it. Um, You've got London. I feel like next week we should get at least some physicality, or at the very least an extended segment where Cody and Cena go back and forth with words. That is the bare minimum. We need at the very least that, because this wasn't what that was this week. Like I said, this was the John Cena and John Cena breaking up with the crowd featuring Cody Rhodes. Now that we got through the John Cena breakup, now it's got to be Cena and Cody building up this match in their hatred between each other.
All right, we got a couple of super chats, so let's go right in. We got Christopher Marino who says, "Not sure if you mentioned it, but with Raw in Scotland, Joe Hendry has to be Jay's partner, right?" And this was a thing that was mentioned by Sam Pyboon earlier on in our watch along. It seems like a couple of people are expecting Joe Hendry to come out there and be Jey Uso's partner in that tag team match that was announced for next week. Of course, we know that Joe Hendry's from Scotland. I personally want to see it. Whether or not it's going to happen, I don't know. But do you think that that's the expectation that people are sort of having going into this matchup, Santi? Or do you feel like, nah, it's probably going to be like Otis or something?
I mean,
Since
I was
they've
expecting
been
just
kind of
Jimmy,
bonding.
Jimmy Uso, considering the segment that there was between Jimmy and Gunther on SmackDown. Joe Hendry is definitely the dream answer. Joe Hendry is also doesn't make sense. If I'm just being like blunt about the actual WrestleMania story and the feud, he
Yeah.
makes sense because of it's Scotland and it's a cool pop. But are we really at a point where Jey Uso's storyline requires the cheap pop? Is that really where we're at with Jey Uso? Because that's what it is. It's not like as if adding Joe Hendry would help develop and build the storyline. It's cool, but it just seems weird to be using the Royal Rumble winner storyline for the cheap local pop for a guy that's not going to be there the week after.
I know that's the thing, though. I think a lot of people are sort of dream fantasizing Joe Hendry in this spot. Like I said, it might just be more of a simple option, but then again, you never know. They've been trying to surprise us, so maybe there's like that what if in the clouds. But don't get your hopes up, because you don't want to be like let down if it doesn't happen.
I think it's going to be Jimmy.
We got Yatik Sahu here. Thank you so much, Yatik. He says, never thought I would hear John Cena do a You People promo, but this one hit differently. It felt like he was talking to the 10-year-old me. Exciting stuff and really had a main event feel. I love it too, because he was talking to 10-year-old me who would boo him too, and 10-year-old you, Santi, that would cheer him, you know? It really did. He touched on everybody here today. And I think that was like the great part of it. Thank you so much, Yatik. We got Rare Gamer 99 who says, Lisa Tequila, the masked man is back. Predictions. So that's the other big topic that we got to get into for today's show. We did have we had a lot here in regards to this, but we did end up seeing Chad Gable essentially come out, or excuse me, Luchador. What are they calling him? American? I don't know.
Todo Americano.
Okay, there you go. This was after the Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee match in which they defeated the Creed brothers, who then had the masked man come up and beat up both Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee, suplexing them, headbutt, you name it. Everybody yelled shoosh at him. Any thoughts here, Santi?
Did you hear him yell, Silencio?
I didn't hear that part.
He was on the top rope and did Silencio. Yeah, weird. You know, a lot of similarities to Chad Gable. Maybe, I don't know, maybe they're friends, long lost cousins. But the one thing I can say with certainty is that they are not the same person, clearly, as we saw from last week. Are we moving on to this segment now? Like, are we just gonna fully pivot
Let's
here?
get to it. What'd you think of what'd you think of the actual tag team match?
I thought the tag team match was good. Rey Mysterio, Dragon Lee, like the finish in like 5 minutes was a lot of fun. The Creed brothers, is it you that just doesn't vibe with them? I can't remember who I had this
No, I
conversation
do
with.
love Creed brothers. I
Okay,
love the
okay,
Creed
it's not
brothers.
you.
I'm waiting for them to like really show their personalities, because I think once they really do show their personalities, I think they will really become like the it team, because they were the it tag team on NXT. Everybody was like, oh shit, the Creed brothers, like look at the insane moves that they can do. There's sort of been this disconnection though on Monday Night Raw, where they haven't really gotten as over as I think that they were on NXT.
Yeah.
But I do still feel it. Like the Creed brothers is the tag team that I'm rooting for. Like they're probably my favorite tag team in general right now in WWE, even though they're not the hottest.
Bang on, I'm with you. They're my favorite act right now on Monday Night Raw in that division. I thought that their chemistry with LWO was great. Look, getting to rub shoulders with Rey Mysterio is no joke. And maybe I don't know where this is going. Is it going to be Rey versus Chad at WrestleMania? Are we setting up LWO versus American Made as a faction match at WrestleMania? Because if I look at like last year's WrestleMania, right, they did have a couple of faction matches. They had, for example, Damage Control versus the Big Three. They had the Pride versus the Final Testament. We don't really have that in this landscape of WrestleMania yet. A lot of singles matches, triple threat matches. I feel like LWO versus American Made might be where they're going to end up going. And if that's the case, I'm excited to see the Creed brothers specifically on that stage. And even Dragon Lee, who, if you remember, got snubbed last second for Andrade.
That is true. And it's WrestleMania, and sometimes they just like to throw in a bunch of people in there so they can have a WrestleMania match. So I think you're onto something with that being a close prediction there. Yeah, this was a fun match. Again, I'm rooting for the Creed brothers. I want them to get over. I actually think the pairing with them and Chad Gable's been like the best attempt at doing that, because one of the things that I think that the crowd hasn't seen is how much personality Brutus has. Brutus has so much personality, and I don't think that they have shown that yet to the people. So I hope we get to see a little bit more of that. And I think Julius for me, I think he's freaking brilliant in the ring. So he kind of sells me more on that. But we got the heel mark here who says, I'm sorry, but I was smiling and laughing and enjoying the whole heel segment of John Cena. To me, this was absolutely brilliant, and I loved it. I loved it too, because he just came out on here and just told us off for 20 minutes. Santi, I don't know if you remember when you were a little kid and you got in trouble with your mom and your dad and they went off on you. Not once did my mom go off this much on me, and I behaved kind of bad sometimes, and I didn't even get it this bad the way that we got it from John Cena today.
Well, that's lucky as a Latina. I got beat with belts and any foreign object that my mom could lay a hand on. I'm a product of Latino child abuse.
I was just talking about that today. You know, I only got hit one time, and it was with my uncle's size 11 Van shoe, and I never forgot it. Got spanked right on the butt for behaving bad. That was the one time I got hit, and I never forgot it.
Here's why I have just trust issues in life in general at my old age now. I broke some little glass figurines that my mom told me don't break them, and I broke them. And I went and hid under their king size bed that was this like big mahogany bed, and she couldn't move it and she couldn't get me out of there. Picture the velociraptor like trying to reach. She was trying to get me out of from under the bed, and I stayed there for like 2 hours, Denise. It turned into a hostage negotiation where we got to negotiate how long I was grounded, what things I would lose, like I was going to lose my N64 and all these things. We came to a verbal agreement that I would come out 2 weeks of grounding, no games, all of this stuff. I couldn't go out. I was like, fair, but I don't get beat, right? You don't get beat. As soon as I crawl within grabbing distance of her, Culi cagado, venga para aquí. He pulls me out. She already had the belt in the other hand. Whack, 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 whack. That was my life.
No. See, I'm sorry that happened to you, Santi, but you know what? At least lesson was learned. You ain't breaking anything ever again. Tell you
No,
that
I
much. Never
learned.
gonna
I
happen.
definitely learned.
That's so funny. I got hit only because I fought with my cousin. And but which to this day I still think was self-defense, but I ain't even gonna get into what caused the fight. I'll tell you what caused the fight, and you tell me if I was in the wrong or if I was in the right. My cousin was bullying me because I was a little meaty, and she was, using, calling me fat, and she was like, "You're fat, you're fat, you're fat," right? She kept bullying me for it, and finally, I snapped, and I like started fighting my cousin. And mind you, we were at a relative's house, so we made a scene in front of strangers, and we started fighting. We started fighting, and so because I was the one that was winning the fight, I was the one who got in trouble for it. And so when I get home, I got hit in the butt with the shoe because I embarrassed the whole family on the trip. But I saw it as self defense because she was bullying me. And finally, I snapped.
So you understand what Cena's going through.
I snapped.
You
Yes, there you
understand.
go.
Cena went through that for 20 years. 20
I think
years.
went for 2 minutes. And I was like, no, I'm gonna fight you. So yeah, I've been there. I get it. So yeah, that's the funny family embarrassing story. But the heel Mark, thank you so much for the super chat. We got Sucho here who says reject Cena Nation, Santi, join the Randy Orton Club.
It ain't like that. No, I'm still here. I'm now the stalker girlfriend that even though I got broken up with, I'm still, I still have access to his Apple ID. I'm still going into his phone remotely and checking DMs.
You're telling your friends this is why he still loves me. Look at this proof. He wouldn't be rejecting me if he didn't love me. He's pushing me away because he loves me. That's you right now, Santi.
Yes.
All right, we got Bailey Darley here who says, Santi, you should support Dom. Now Cena turned heel.
Why
Yeah.
not both?
All right, we got Sandy Klein here who says, heel Cena is the epic crowd. Greetings from Germany. Hell yeah,
Guten
man.
Tag.
Thank you so much. We got Free Ola 33 who says, is Jey Uso the new flop dollar? He wrestles like him. Oh
Oh,
no. He did have that unfortunate moment today. It was kind of a little bit scary in his match against Jey Uso, which was very, very quick, by the way. Love that they did that because I think Jey Uso kind of needed a quick win. But afterwards, there was a little bit of a scary moment when he went to the outside, trying to take out A-Town down under, but it just didn't. It unfortunately didn't go too well, but he bounced right back up and was able to get attacked by Gunther. So all went well here. But did you have a moment, Santi, where you were like, I hope he's okay?
he looked fine. My reaction was like, oh, great. Because he needed more fuel for the internet wrestling community to hate on the fact that he's in this. They're going to be replaying this, I promise you, left, right, and center on Twitter as more Jey Uso hate ammunition.
Yeah, I was more so scared. I was just like, I hope everything's okay. But yeah, he looked fine. He bounced right back up. Anthony Giuliano says, "Hey Denise, how can I watch SmackDown where I can get the VPN to watch SmackDown this Friday?" So yeah, so you just look up, you get just Google, find out what VPN works the best for you, which one you're mostly interested in. Google that, and then you just go on Netflix, you change your location, and you are more than able to watch SmackDown, just like that. So yeah, so just Google what VPN you think would be best for you. Thank you so much, Anthony Giuliano, for asking here. All right, with that being said, let's go ahead and rewind a little bit and let's get into the rest of the show here. So after this Cody John Cena segment, we had a really fun no holds barred match between Penta and Ludwig Kaiser that saw Penta defeat Ludwig. I had a good time with this, man. Couple of chair shots, Canadian Destroyer off the middle rope, Penta driver for the win. I thought this one was pretty damn fun. Definitely the best match that he's had with Ludwig Kaiser. How'd you
I
feel
agree.
about it, Santi?
I agree. I also feel like this is one of those matches where you wished you had a VPN if you're American, because they actually had some good stuff during the commercial break. Like the match kept going and it was really good. Ludwig Kaiser looked great in this. I love the Death Valley driver on the announce table. I like the match just in general. The crowd was hyped for it, for the Ludwig European rub, and then they just loved Penta showering him with songs, which was great. But definitely the big talking point is Penta going and calling a shot for the Intercontinental Championship, which I think is great. Why not?
Dude, I got so excited when he said he was coming for the Intercontinental Championship because I had this moment of like, ooh, yay, Intercontinental Championship gold. But then I was like, wait, the champion's Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker versus Penta will be epic. And of course, I might as well get into that. So let me fast forward to the ending of the show because we did see Braun Breaker successfully defend his Intercontinental Championship against Finn Balor. And like many of us expected, the Judgment Day, unfortunately, kind of was the reason that Finn Balor lost because even though Dominic, your boy, tried to help out Finn Balor, in the end, he ended up causing him to fall and hit his little demons. And so that ended up being the reason that Braun Breaker was able to finish him off with a spear and get Frankensteiner and the spear and get the win there. But at the end of the show, we closed off with the lasting image being Braun Breaker and Penta staring across from each other with that Intercontinental Championship. Santi, we have had a lot of teases now at this point with Braun Breaker and AJ Styles, Braun Breaker, and now Penta. And they're teasing us a whole lot with what can be for Braun. And I think this is one of those other ones where I'm like, okay, this option here is something I really want to see. But part of me is like, damn, I don't want Braun Breaker to lose his Intercontinental Championship yet. And if Penta goes up for it, I also don't want Penta to lose. So I'm kind of stuck in a situation where I'm like, I like both guys and I want both of them to be champion. Obviously, that cannot happen. But I think if they do this match, this could be a really, really a banger of a match.
I agree. And it is sad, for Finn Balor fans that Finn Balor once again just taking the pin to set up somebody else feuding for the thing that we thought that he might have a chance of winning. Penta versus Braun Breaker, that's a dream match in every regard. And I do hope that they pull the trigger on this at WrestleMania as opposed to any of these other European shows or anything like that. I want this to be a WrestleMania because, even though you're mentioning the fact that you don't want either of these guys to lose, like that's pretty cool, to go into a match where you are emotionally invested in both of these guys and you want to see them both win and both lose. That's going to take you on a pretty awesome roller coaster of emotions as a match. But it's also just so indicative of how WWE is using these AEW refugees, if you want to call them that. Like that's such a vote of confidence. Again, if I'm one of these free agents with the ability to jump to WWE and I see how they're using Penta, that to me has to be appealing at the very minimum. Because seeing Penta, start in WWE in the second week of this year and now main event, getting in a main event spot on Monday Night Raw, building up to something big at WrestleMania. To me, that is so awesome for Penta. And I'm in your boat as well, where I don't want either of these guys to lose. I want both of them to win. But I'm also here for whatever ride they take us on because I just know that match is going to be unbelievably good.
Isn't it crazy that, they say the grass is always greener on the other side, right? And
On
you
the
made a
other
really good
side.
case. You made a really good case for how they're treating, how they treated Penta, how they treated Jade Cargill, Cody Rhodes, all of these people that came from AEW to WWE and are getting the red carpet treatment, right? And then I started thinking, dang, look at Ricochet. He's an example of it in reverse, where it's
Mhm.
like, okay, you weren't being used in WWE. Now you're in AEW, and look at the way that you're being used now. So it's kind of funny. I think that you're sort of seeing some people be used better in some promotions than others. And you can't say that for everybody because look at Andrade. He is literally stuck in the exact same boat that he was before. But I guess it depends on who they prefer, don't prefer, or whatever. But yeah, it's pretty funny to be able to see that. All right, let's go ahead and get into also. All right, we got a super chat here, and this is from Sandy Klein, who says, "Is it just me that wants to face Austin Theory? I just want them to break up. I'm sorry, but
I'm
given how
done with
fast."
this.
Right, Santi, I'm over it. I'm just like at this point, you're trolling us that you haven't broken up A Town Down Under.
Yeah,
That's really
it's
what I think.
honestly, like they had a little bit of a fire in like lightning in a bottle in the fall when this was at the height of its speculation when it could have happened. But it almost feels like the Otis push that they missed out on, and then they tried later on in the year, and we're like, brother, you're 7 months too late for this. What are we doing? And this is kind of like where it feels like we're at with the A Town Down Under breakup or heel turn, whatever it might be. I still want to see it, but it's just not going to hit as hard when it happens compared to had they done it in the fall.
No, yeah, they're trolling us at this point. They should have done it already. And I thought they were, especially after that Oba Femi NXT match that they had, but I guess they didn't. We got Anthony Giuliano here who says, "My opinion on a Cena segment was not the promo I was looking for. He didn't say why he joined The Rock or have actually why he turned. I wanted more." Well, I think why he turned was essentially him basically telling us that the fans treated him like shit, right? That he was in some sort of like abusive relationship with the fans, right? Love hate relationship. So I think that part was answered, but why he joined The Rock, that part still wasn't answered. I think we could definitely dive into that a lot more. And hopefully they do that. Hopefully Cody Rhodes questions him on this next week. And like Santi mentioned earlier, I do want to see that back and forth with Cody and John. Not just one guy having their own monologue, but both guys going back and forth. Thank you so much, Anthony. All right, but speaking of people going back and forth, we got to get into this Io Sky and Bianca Belair
Oh yeah,
contract signing. This was a really damn good segment, and I feel like they've really been lighting this up because Rhea goes out there and she just disregarded all the rules that goes into contract signings and
the
just signed the
law.
contract herself. Yeah, the law, exactly. This basically led to her trying to get in on this match to the point where after the contract segment, we had Bianca Belair attack Rhea Ripley backstage. Rhea Ripley's begging Adam Pearce to get her into this match. And Adam Pearce is like, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. And at this point, I'm trying to figure out when he's actually going to finally say, all right, we're doing it. Like, you're going to be in this match. Because even though she signed her name, as we all know, that's not really how it works. So, how we get there, I don't exactly know. But here's what was interesting, Santi. Bianca Belair is still technically a babyface, but in this whole segment, she was being booed up the wazoo, and Io Sky was being cheered like she was the most over person in that room. Maybe aside from Rhea Ripley, of course. But I was very, very impressed with those dynamics. And of course, this is not the first time we've seen this. This has happened before, but still, to see it is pretty interesting. What'd you make of the segment and how everybody reacted to everybody?
I mean, I loved it. Whether it's intentional or not, every single week they keep making Io a bigger star. And I want to believe that it's intentional because I also believe that it was highly necessary to elevate Io Sky week by week as we get to WrestleMania, because we are talking about her going into a triple threat match against the 1A and 1B in terms of popularity in the WWE. Io Sky, as much as you and I love Io Sky, as talented as she is, as much as I believe she's the best in the world right now, she is levels below Bianca and Rhea in terms of overall popularity in the WWE. So seeing these past 2 weeks, her getting the biggest reaction from the crowd, it just keeps bumping her up. And she's eventually, if it keeps going like this, going to get, even if it's just for this feud, to the popularity of Rhea and Bianca Belair. It also does help that Rhea is becoming a very clear black and white heel, right? Like they're like she's gonna be the bad guy and the heel of this program, which I think will ultimately also continue to help Io Sky in this situation. Bianca, even though she got booed in this, or not getting the same type of reaction that that Io was getting, it's still Bianca Belair, you know, especially once we get stateside, she's still going to get all those reactions, and she's still going to be the most popular thing on any given episode of Friday Night SmackDown. So she's going to be fine. The one that needs the help and is getting the help is Io Sky, because she looked great in this, in that contract signing where she stood up right back to Bianca Belair. The whole thing with the power bomb on the table was great. The fight backstage was awesome. This is one of my favorite feuds going into WrestleMania right now, and they've done it in such a short amount of time.
My favorite part of it is Rhea Ripley getting like frustrated, right? Because Rhea Ripley is usually, for the most part, she's composed, right? Like she's this badass. She knows what kind of woman she is. She knows what she brings to the table, and she's usually very secure. Whereas this time, she's like on a rampage, and she's, mad, and she's angry, and she's frustrated. And unfortunately, it was her fault that she lost her championship belt when she got distracted by Bianca Belair. And so right now, we're sort of seeing this loose cannon Rhea Ripley, and I love to see that. So that's been my favorite part of the story. And in regards to Bianca, it feels like, I don't know if it was always the plan to turn Bianca heel at some point, but it feels like because it's what the fans want to see, that they're almost pushing for it to happen. And of course, international fans different than, fans here in the United States and all of that, whatever. But I think that just people overall really want to see Bianca turn heel, to the point where I won't be surprised if WWE does sort of, tweak this storyline a little bit and make Bianca turn heel, whether or not it was the plan already. And if it was the plan already, then good. They got their, all of their cards are going to play out just nicely. But I don't know. It feels to me like they might have to pivot if this wasn't already the plan to turn her heel.
We'll see. I don't know that there's room for both Rhea and Bianca to be heel in this program, especially this close to WrestleMania. You know, if you really like the idea of Bianca being a heel in this program, I think it could be beyond WrestleMania in a program with Jade and Naomi, because she still has that going on as well. But I think for WrestleMania, I think it's going to be pretty basic for Bianca. I think she's going to be one of the baby faces in this.
All right, moving on, we got Dakota Kai defeating Ivy Nile. Not really too much to say about that. They kept it very, very brief. Dakota Kai got a win, so we'll kind of just fast forward through that. Jey Uso defeated Austin Theory. That was another one. Did we already talk about this?
Yeah, we already talked about it. Yeah.
Oh, no wonder. I was like, I felt like I already said what I needed to say about that.
We,
I'm looking at it, I'm like, wait a minute, what?
You'll see. We because we aren't really going to talk so much about that Seth Rollins promo because it was nothing. We basically already got through the show. We literally already got through the show.
I was looking at that right now, and I'm like, wait a minute, we already went through it all, because I'm like, oh shit.
Well, think about it. Like the show, that Seth Rollins segment being a whole nothing burger.
Yeah.
One, it was 10 minutes. And two, the show ended 7 minutes earlier than it normally does. So, like, to me, this show felt like after the John Cena stuff, they're like, all right, let's wrap it up. Let's go home. Yeah, let's do a great Penta and Ludwig match. But everything else just sort of felt like for the rest of the episode. There was nothing else that really stood out. I really feel like WWE was intentionally making this episode the I just want you to walk away remembering what John Cena said episode.
You're right, because I also feel like that's what they did for the MSG Raw show, but the opposite of it, where it was the end of the show that really mattered. And then this week, it was really the top of the show that really mattered. But there you have it. Next week, Raw will be in Glasgow, and it's still going to be starting early, except that it will be an hour later than it has started the last 2 weeks. So it'll be 4 p.m. Eastern time, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're going to be seeing Lyra Valkyria versus Raquel Rodriguez for the Intercontinental Championship. CM Punk will be making an appearance. Jey Uso versus a partner, we still don't know who, versus Grayson Waller and Austin Theory. And then Cody Rhodes and John Cena will be under the same roof once again. With that being said, ladies and gents, that was our Monday Night Raw post show here with Santi and myself. Santi, before we wrap things up, please tell the people where they can support you and find your work.
You can find me at anything related to Santi's app, whether it's on Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. Just Google and pick your poison on whichever social media platform you'd like to follow me.
All right. Same for me. YouTube.com/Denise Salcedo. That's where I post all of my content, social media @ Denise Salcedo. Go check me out there. Thank you guys so much for watching. And we will catch you back here once again each and every single Monday to chat some WWE Raw.